telos of sustaining a certain life or process or whatever. So not an external telos. So again, this telos is not philosophical properly. So mechanicity offers far more, and I think than classical philosopher, any philosopher, I would argue, would take from it. I think that Marx was the first to recognize the possibilities it offers, and that it's not some vulgar form of thinking, actually, that is the source of this complex arborescence that we can talk about, which does not look for a cause outside of itself. And this is the most rudimentary movement that offers this arborescence and, you know, the flourishing of roses, etc., etc. It all comes from something so simple. So now the philosophers are never pleased with this idea that something so simple, such coarse materiality, as Marx would call it, would be, you know, the explanation of everything. There must be something more, something higher, something greater. This is, you know, what philosophy has always been preoccupied with, you know.
But there's other traditions that are not Euro-Western that have had this intuition for a long time, that the nature of things is indeterminate. American Indians and indigenous philosophies, they don't start from the idea of stasis either. So internal to the Western European tradition, this is kind of tracking the genealogy of how that occurs, but it's not like Europeans are the first discoverers of this idea. Other people have had this idea as well. But in terms of the quantum idea, you know, to me, it's not that I think I don't have like an interpretation of quantum physics. I'm just okay and happy to sit with the experimental results of what we have right now historically. And I think those results are exactly what Lucretius was talking about. And this is so a really great place to look at this is Carlo Rovelli, the Italian physicist, has a section on in his most recent book called Helgoland. That's kind of about Heisenberg, but it's about all kinds of stuff. But to me, it's like 5 pages, and he just completely lays out like, here is why all of these theoretical quantum physicists are basically just metaphysicians. They're all speculating about the nature of quantum. They're just trying to explain the experimental results, but in order to do that, they have to make speculative metaphysical assumptions about the nature of things to explain the results. But the origins of that is exactly as Katerina was saying, more generally, philosophically, there is a deep anxiety, not just on the part of philosophers, but on scientists as well, that matter is indeterminate. And there's not an explanation that science or philosophy will be able to totalize and come up with a universal set of laws to explain it. As Katerina was saying, like, philosophers aren't happy with it, scientists aren't happy with it, and yet this is experimentally where quantum physics is at. And that is why everybody is, you know, that's why there's so much written about it, is because quantum physicists are always speculating and hemming and hawing and being unhappy, like, oh, it's so mysterious, quantum physics. And it's like, yeah, well, look, I mean, do you like that mystery?